winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights. We are the new kings, winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. We've had our grill going for 75 years, and yep, it's still going. Whataburger, goodness 24/7.
It is week number 10 of this high school football season, and welcome to Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger inside the Globe Life Studios here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Kyle Yeomans. Yes, a very special week 10 edition of Friday Night Stars, because as you know, Friday night, Halloween night, and you know it's going to be.
Wear our costumes.
We're dressed up as sportscasters, right?
We're pretending that's all we're doing.
To be sportscasters here, and you know, at stadiums all across the Metroplex on Friday night, it's going to be a wild scene this week.
Oh, absolutely, because it rarely falls. Halloween does rarely falls on a high school football day in general, Thursday or Friday. But when it's on a Friday night in Texas, you know there's a little sprinkle of spooky season. These teams getting down to the final 2 weeks of the regular season, playoff scenarios. We should just call it spooky scenarios and just talk about it that way.
I think we got the perfect game for the Whataburger game of the week this week, because you've got one team that's going to be dressed up in orange, Rockwall Yellow Jackets. They're taking on the Heath Hawks. Yes, this is a crosstown rivalry matchup, and lots of things at stake when the Yellow Jackets and Hawks get together, Kyle.
Yeah, it's a rivalry game that they have played for decades out in Rockwall, and of course, it's provided some really good classic games over the last few years as well. We all remember that 79-71 double overtime game that happened back in 2021. But with this one specifically, there's a lot of playoff implications on the line. Rockwall currently sitting at 4-4, 2-2 inside district play. They need a big win. Remember, they had that big win early in the campaign, as you can see here, against North Crowley, where they came back to win that game on the road. But since then, they've stumbled a couple times. They've won some of the games they probably shouldn't. They've lost some of the games they probably shouldn't. So this is a game where they can get back on track and try and find their rhythm against a really good Rockwall Heath team and put themselves back into district standings slate, whereas Heath can clinch a playoff spot with a win against Rockwall throughout this matchup. So I think when it all boils down to it, you look at the best players on both teams. With Heath in their standout at quarterback, Prosper Neal, 16 touchdown passes this year. He was kind of back and forth, injured throughout the campaign. He got banged up a little bit early in last week's loss to Longview. Didn't return. If he's unavailable, that's a big plus for Rockwall and not having to deal with the big-time player on the Heath side of things. Rivalry game, anything can happen. Heath's probably the better team, but Rockwall might have an advantage if he's unable to go.
And Prosper Neal, who, by the way, ranks in the top 10 academically with a Kyle Yeomans-like grade point average of 5.24. Of course, yours was on a 10-point scale.
Yeah.
His is on a 4-point scale.
Maybe a 15-point scale.
All right. That is in District 10 6A, which is one of the wilder districts in the Metroplex. Let's go to District 7 6A for Game of the Week number 2, another rivalry game. It's at Berkner Ram Stadium, Wildcat Ram Stadium, the Lake Highlands Wildcats and the Richardson Eagles.
Yeah, watch out for Richardson. This team can play. But I want to start with Lake Highlands and what they've brought to the table. They're 7-1 for a reason. They've won 7 straight games since they dropped their season opener by 3, 37-34 to Forney early in the campaign. And they've played well against the other Richardson ISD schools like Pierce, where they took advantage there of the Mustangs. And then they took down Berkner in a really tight football game, but they got it done there too. One of the top passing attacks in all of high school football in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, and they won this game last year 38-7 in District 7 6A play. But this is a different Richardson team. They've got 2 Texas State commits at wide receiver that can play. Jacob Watson, Damian Crow, they both combined for 11 catches, 250 yards, and a trio of touchdowns in last week's win against Jesuit, which they needed to stay alive in their district title hunt as well. They got it done 28-24 28-27. One of the best defenses in DFW. They have the firepower on the offensive side. They can match up about as well as anybody with Lake Highlands in that District 7 matchup. I'm excited to see how this one unfolds, and I think it's going to be a one-score game coming down to the wire.
And we're talking a district championship is at stake in a rivalry game between these two. It should be fun to watch as those two go at it. In District 5, 6A, how about the Fighting Farmers of Louisville, 7-1 on the season. The lone loss coming in district play against Coppell, and they travel to Denton, short little drive, to take on the Geyer Wildcats, unbeaten in district play, and of course Geyer had the tough non-district slate.
Yeah, they were tremendous even in losing areas for Denton Geyer in the non-district campaign. Louisville on the other side, I think they're under the radar. We aren't talking about Louisville enough. You talk about what they've done in district play, and they've done it against teams like Hebron in their district so far, but when you're putting up nearly 40 points per game, you've got to have multiple guys that can play at a high level. I really got to start on the defensive side with what they've done with guys like, or on the offensive side with guys like Tatum Bell, Xavier Fleming on the defensive side. I mean, they've got next level Division I commits on that Louisville side of things that are going to have to play their best game against Denton Geyer, which is top 11 in the state. I think if there was a team to knock off Geyer in this district, it's going to be the Fighting Farmers, who also still have a chance to win that district as well. It's going to be a fun matchup back and forth.
Yeah, Michael Odell has put a terrific program together there at Louisville, and Geyer's been doing it for years, and they've got D1 talent across the board on that roster.
Absolutely. You got a Kansas commit at wide receiver. Corbin Glasgow has had a great year. Caden Cobbs, I mean, can we talk about what he's done throughout the season as well? I mean, this is a guy who rushed for a career high 245 yards, 3 touchdowns as they pulled away from Flower Mound Marcus in a district matchup earlier in the campaign, 52-21 in that win. Caden Cobbs is the real deal. He is a next level running back as well. Denton Geyer's got plenty of Division I talent. They're going to stack up well against anybody, but this is going to be their toughest test in district play.
All right, and we move down to Class 5A, Division II. It's District 4, 5A, Division II. And, it seems like we talk about good matchups in this district every week during the season. And how about this one? A battle of district unbeatens as the Melissa Cardinals travel to play against the Walnut Grove Wildcats.
There's a reason why we saved this one for last, right? Two teams that are ranked inside the top 10 of their respective division at the 5A Division II level. This was a great game last year when Melissa was trying to fight their way into playoff contention, lost to Walnut Grove 37-28, and Walnut Grove can put up some points. We've talked about them previously with guys like Cam Newton, Hayes Hackney, who is just throwing touchdown pass after touchdown pass throughout the year. He has 25 on the season. But Melissa, watch out for Melissa and what they can do with Brett Holloway, transfer from Allen last year. He threw for 378 yards, 7 touchdowns last week in a win over Frisco Emerson. This Holloway kid can throw the ball. He's only 1 touchdown behind Mr. Hackney that we've talked about multiple times for Prosper Walnut Grove. They're going to throw it around as well, and it's going to be a high-scoring affair between the Cardinals and, of course, the Wildcats.
And, of course, Melissa still smarting from not making the playoffs last year, despite a 6-4 record, and they've been putting it together this year. The guy that I want to talk about, though, is the Walnut Grove running back, Cameron Newton.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to pull back the curtain a little bit because my daughter, Jordan, says to me, what about this running back at Walnut Grove named Cameron Newton? And I'm like, how do you know about Cameron Newton? Well, she says she follows his mom on social media. She's a social media influencer, Taryn Newton, who has 1.1 million followers on Instagram. And so that's why I'm very much interested, and my daughter is very much interested in Cameron Newton, the senior running back, who, by the way, if you follow her on Instagram, he turned 18 this week. He had a big birthday party this week. All right, just some insight that you won't get anywhere else but right here on Friday Night Stars. All right, we continue with a trip to Frisco, and Friday Night Stars continues in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Try the all-new Prickly Pear Raspberry Whata-Fresher, made with real raspberry. It's refreshing and ready for you now at Whataburger.
showdowns at the Star. Tonight, we're just moments away from kickoff as the Anna Coyotes, not to be confused with the Heritage Coyotes, take on the Memorial Warriors. And then on Friday night, it's the Wakeland Wolverines playing host to the Sherman Bearcats in a District 5-5A Division I game. But let's talk about that Thursday night game.
That's how you got
as the
right?
Anna Coyotes. How about that? Coach Seth Parr, his team coming off a 9-4 season last year, 6-2 this year, 4-2 in district play, Kyle.
Yeah, and remember, this is a team that made a state title run just a few seasons ago. I mean, they have all sorts of talent on their side of things. I've always really loved watching Zeandre Williams play, the quarterback there for Anna. 25 touchdowns, 7 interceptions this year. He also has 7 yards rushing on the or 7 touchdowns on the ground this season, and he's the leading rusher of that squad too. He is a electrifying player in a really tough district. Anna looks like they've got their playoff spot locked up. They got to take care of business this week, and then Denison and Lovejoy are right underneath them. They play in the final week of the regular season. Winner takes that 4th playoff spot. It's a crazy district across the board, and Anna's right in the middle of it all.
Just like last year, where you got basically 5 teams competing for 4 playoff spots. All right, we talk about the Wakeland Wolverines playing here at the Star on Friday night, and here is an up-close look at that team.
Well, this team has definitely got some talent on it for sure. We're very blessed over here to have some very talented football teams, and what's unique about this one, I think, is the ability of the guys to really come together, and they've decided that they want to achieve something together, and so far that they've worked really hard for that, and so far they've been successful.
Consistency is definitely key. Just keep thriving, keep pushing, just keep putting our heads down. Talent-wise and execution-wise, and we're the best team in the district, and it's not even close in my opinion. I feel like we've shown that. I feel like at the start of the season we were kind of taken on seriously, like deep look-wise, and I think that everyone expects us to go first round playoffs, and that's cool. And that's just kind of what we've done for the past couple of years, and I think that our big thing this year was raising the standard and going beyond that. So I think that we definitely put that into motion this summer, and that we're thriving to be better than everyone else.
Yeah, I would say the biggest strength, especially difference from last year, is just our senior leadership. We got a lot of guys who want to lead. We have 2 receivers who've been playing on varsity for 3 years now, so the trust is there with our quarterback. Obviously, we've been playing with our quarterback for years since middle school, and so the trust is there, and then that also translates to the coaches as well.
With a win Friday night, Wakeland will complete a 9-1 regular season, the lone loss coming last week against Lone Star.
Yeah, this is a really good football team. They talked about the trust of the quarterback. Jaden Maples is a really, really sound thrower. In the games that I've called throughout the year, he doesn't make mistakes that are going to put your team in a tough situation. He's only thrown 2 interceptions this year. He's got 24 passing touchdowns, over 2,000 yards. He's a legitimate quarterback that you need in playoff time when these teams are going to try and force you into mistakes. They went 2 rounds deep last year, fell to Highland Park. This Wakeland team is much more talented than what they had a year ago, and I think that trust that they're all talking about showcases both them and Lone Star at the top of that district. Each one of those Frisco ISD teams could definitely make a run in the postseason.
All right, when we come back here on Friday Night Stars, the top teams in Class 6A in the state squaring off. And how about those DeSoto Eagles making a late season run to the playoffs?
This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Introducing the all-new Whataburger Bacon Wrangler Double. Big Texas flavor, made hot and fresh for a limited time, only at Whataburger.
5 Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex schools in the top 10 in the state in Class 6A. Here's the important thing here. Southlake, Carroll, and Prosper will be going Division II in the playoffs. You got Allen, Duncanville, and North Crowley all going Division I, kind of setting the table for a couple of weeks from now. But how about last week? Allen's win over Prosper, 31-30. Kyle Yeomans, it was an instant classic.
Absolutely. Going into this game, the hype around both of these teams, top 10 teams in the state, it was already sky high. The way that it finished as well, both teams over 350 yards of total offense. Prosper actually outgained Allen 455 to 359, but they end up falling in this game 31-30. Allen outscores Prosper 10-6 in the fourth quarter, erasing what was a Prosper lead at the end of the third to win this football game late. This was an incredible matchup. Give credit to what Jeremiah Dowd did at the quarterback position. He went 27 of 36 passing, 228 through the air, couple touchdowns, and really this was just it took an all-around effort from both teams. I wouldn't be surprised if both of these teams make a run into that final semifinal of the state championship playoffs, and what could really be a special year for both squads.
That ended with Prosper missing a 48-yard field goal to end the game. Meanwhile, DeSoto won the Battle of Beltline last week over Cedar Hill, and Johnny Resendez has more on the Eagles.
Texas is known to have some of the best high school football talent this country has to offer. Of course, all of them are still hard at work practicing, but this is no ordinary team. DeSoto High School is one of the most recognized programs in the country, and with a name that big comes an even bigger target. So the team says the only acceptable way to practice is 1,000%.
We've got to nail his ass and rough up and point it to the ball. Everybody got to get to the ball. Everybody got to get to the ball. Give me a pump. Go. Good job.
Our standard is best, so we're going to work hard every single day. The coaches know we can work at the top level and compete with everyone, so that's what we do.
Growing up, most of us play with each other in Little League, so, we was always a great team even growing up. Everybody wanted to beat us, so we just carried it on in high school. We didn't been on the stage for a long time.
DeSoto has produced countless D1 college football recruits and over a dozen NFL players. Part of their success can be attributed to their intense, grueling practices.
I feel like today was a little lighter, honestly. If you want me to be honest, this is a lighter day. Usually we go 24 periods. Today was like 16, 17.
Our culture is here, it's embedded. So effort is number one on this football field. They must know they got to bring it every single day. But you play like you practice. So if we're going to practice bad, we're going to play bad. If we're going to practice great, we're going to play great.
The Eagles have won 2 6A state titles in the last 3 years. But as rich of a history DeSoto has, this 2025 team thinks they could be one of one.
It doesn't matter who we play. We're going to have that target on our back. But this team has a chance to make their own identity. These guys are finally getting it. They're playing hard. They're listening.
Just trusting in each other as we on that field, feeling like nobody can mess with us because we know nobody can mess with us. So we really do believe we're the best in the state of Texas. So.
Reporting in DeSoto, Johnny Resendez, CBS Sports Texas.
Right now in the District of Doom, it's Duncanville, DeSoto, and Waxahachie all tied for first place at 4-1.
And they've all defeated each other at the same time. So it's really interesting. What a win that was for DeSoto last week, 46-9 over Cedar Hill. And I love the comment there from one of those student athletes, the fact that they said, this is light work. This is a light practice, no big deal. DeSoto's used to the spotlight. They're used to making deep runs in the playoffs, and it looks like the Eagles are primed for another one this year.
And they'll be headed to the Division II playoffs after out of District 11 6A. We wrap up Friday Night Stars in just a moment. Big matchup in Plano we need to tell you about when we come back.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. We're celebrating 75 years of giving the people exactly what they order, 24/7. That's the Whataburger way.
Final couple of minutes here of Friday Night Stars. We talked about Allen and Prosper, the cream of the crop in District 6, 6A. But what a battle is going on here the final 2 weeks of this regular season for the final 2 playoff spots in this district, and a key matchup in Plano this week as the Plano Senior High Wildcats play host to the Rock Hill Blue Hawks. Kyle Yeomans.
Yeah, Rock Hill comes in as a team this year that they anticipated to be in the playoff standings. Plano, a bit of a surprise this year. They can lock up a playoff spot with a win and then a Prosper win over Princeton this week. And if Prosper sitting at 5-1. If they don't watch out, they lose their final 2 games of the regular season. They finish at 5-3. There is a tiebreaker scenario where Prosper would be on the outside looking in. Only 1 team clinched so far. That's Allen. Only 2 teams eliminated in spots 3 through 7 in that district, all separated by just a single game. Pretty crazy in District 6A right now. Exciting to see what's going to happen in Plano this week, because Plano can lock up a spot. Rock Hill's got a little more work to do.
But we expect crazy this week because it's Halloween on Friday night. Be safe out there. Trick-or-treating and at your high school football games. For Kyle Yeomans, I'm Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us here for Friday Night Stars, and we will see you again next week. We'll be previewing the playoffs, the final week of the regular season.